up there with rock singers and great actors, and they're, you know, people are singing with them to them. It's just it's really become just like a nice
great interaction.
Has anybody, you guys have been to them? Has anybody else been to these karaoke parties? There ends up being about 30 people on stage at the end of the set. I mean, it's not, it's organized in its disorganization, and that's kind of a beautiful thing, and I think it's what makes it so much fun for everybody.
It's a true interaction. I mean, everybody's on stage together, performing together. I was really apprehensive, because I was like, no, that's your and Matt's thing. And you're like, no, come.
But we now can't not, like, we need you guys there. It's just like becomes this, the energy builds, you know. It's like, oh, Matt and Richard, and we'll come out, and you know, it's special guests, and everybody wants to show up now. The word of mouth is like through fan base is spread, and even into the actors. And Rob comes, and
Sebastian.
Everybody was there. Sebastian and Lindbergh, and everybody shows up, and you know, it's free. It's we're giving what nobody else, I think, gives at any other convention, and we have a hell of a good time doing it.
I think that's the key. The key of the whole thing is, neither I nor Matt liked doing something that wasn't fun for us. Yeah. So I just made it fun for me. It was selfish. Because if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it where I was having a good time. Yeah. And the consequence of that has been the fans have a good time.
Yes.
And so then it becomes fun.
It's a great experience. It really is.
So, my first question is to Matt. Are you aware of what's on the back of your shirt?
I am.
Okay.
What's on the back of the shirt there?
This is my extreme dedication to this fan base.
One of these, it's rare that accidentally ends up on your shirt. You know what I mean? I mean, it does happen. I'm sure we've all had that happen.
Are you growing a seagull sculpture back there?
I'm not growing. It's funny. In like New Jersey or something last year, this girl she was a high school student. She was with her mom, and her mom was like a little irritated at her for something. So I asked, I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, my daughter went to school and some boy was being mean to her, so while he was sitting at his desk, she put a maxi pad on his back, and I was like, oh my God, it's so funny. And then Mom like looked at me and I was like, you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, I mean, if you're mad at him, you're gonna get in trouble. And then like not 5 minutes later, she tried to pull the same prank on me, and I'm just the kind of,
and it's
I just don't really, and so now she's like 2 years older, and I was like, if you want me to wear the thing, I'll wear the thing. I personally don't care.
That's why they love you.
That's right. So.
And for Rob, can you talk a little bit about your process when you're writing songs, like where you go to with that?
Yeah, it's I mean, usually it just begins with me and an acoustic guitar, and I'll come up with like a melody that I like, and then. A lot of times like words will just kind of form in my mouth and I'm just singing along with it. It'll be like a phrase that I'll pick up that I'll start singing. And then that phrase will give me an idea to like sort of create a story around that. And then in terms of like what it becomes about, a lot of it's just like where I'm at in that moment. But it's funny, like so many of my songs end up being sort of, I don't know, unlucky in love or sort of an unlucky outlook on life and
homelessness. I think it was
homelessness. But then, like, sort of the third verse, always sort of like deciding to pull it up, deciding to go, you know what, this is the way that it is, I'm just going to make the best of it, kind of thing. I don't always know where that comes from, other than I like a little drama, and I like also a little wit, and I try to put both of those in. So I'm always writing sort of about how I'm feeling, but not necessarily about me. But then I'll just bring that into the guys, and I'll say, here's this song that I've written, and they either dig it or they don't. And if they dig it, then we all put music to it.
And when they don't?
Then we just don't talk about it. I email them, like, I'll like, hey, I wrote these 3 songs, and a lot of times they'll be like, you know what, let's work on that one. Or if they don't respond, I'll be like, did you get those songs that I emailed? Did that go through? I can resend.
They're like, yeah, you want to go to the hockey game this week?
You do. You do actually type in that high voice too, which is
it's weird. Yeah, and I type
small font, italicized.
All right.
I'm also a court reporter on the weekends.
For Richard, can you tell us a bit about Three Blind Saints?
Three Blind Saints. Yeah, that's a romantic comedy coming out. In the next couple of months that I shot last year. That is a really fun little film. I liken it to Bruce Almighty. It's a upbeat, very positive. It's like the only project I've ever shown my kids that I've done so far. I mean, like A, my kids are young, but B, it's a very family-friendly romantic comedy, and it was really fun to work with. It was a first-time production company out of Kansas City, and that can sometimes smell disaster. But in this case, it was a delight. everybody was so excited to be making the movie and so fired up to have us all there. And it was a really great team experience, and I think the result is a really fun film. And it's nice that it has a message, and it's nice that it has a heart, but it's well balanced with the comedy. I think that they've done a really good job of it. I look forward to it coming out and finding an audience.
Me too.
I say you didn't know I did that, right? We never talked.
You've had the screenings for it. How's it gone?
We did the one screening in Kansas City, and it went great. But I always feel like you got to take those with a grain of salt because that's the hometown crowd. Like you got to take that show on the road and see,
right?
How it plays to an audience that doesn't have an attachment to the production company or doesn't have an attachment to the writer. So we'll see. I actually anticipated doing well. I mean, I don't say that lightly because it's a tough industry and it's a tough market. But I know from, just being out there and auditioning, as we all do, that so many times you audition for or get or work on a project that you don't really like, you just do it because you do it. This is the example of something I thought was really fresh and fun and wonderful in its sort of family-friendly energy, and I think will do well and will find its audience.
Good luck with it.
For the three of you, how would you, because you're actors when you're acting and you're in your real life when you're in your real life, how would you describe the job of what you do at the conventions? What do you call that?
I don't think this is, I think in a way this is a different brand of acting. It's hosting in a way. The thing we always sort of talked about, like Matt and I talked about in designing the karaoke party, for example, is we're hosting a party. Everybody may be paying to be here, but we're basically we're throwing a party. Everything, we control the energy of the entire event. So if we're crab apples and standoffish, then fans will feel less appreciated and less involved. However, in Q&As and in the meet and greets and in the karaoke party, if we are enjoying ourselves, having fun, and engaging, then which means we're hosting a fun event, then people respond in kind. So I've always looked at it as we're throwing a party, even though technically it's another company doing it and we're hired guns. So much of that, it's no different than you go on a set. You go on a set like Supernatural, Jared and Jensen control the energy. They're the top guns in that thing. If they are pompous jerks, the crew's going to act differently. The guest cast is going to act differently.
Down.
Everybody, it's just, you can't, it's not like the two leads can be unpleasant and everybody else having a blast. It doesn't work that way. They are super great to work with. Consequently, everybody loves that show. Everybody loves to be there. They've had the same crew for the entire run. It's a pleasant place to work. That's what we do in conventions. And they don't carry that weight because they come in and do their Sunday, and they're obviously the big attraction. But it's up to us to sort of keep the ball in the air until they arrive.
Yeah, especially sort of the mid-level guys. And we really do go out of our way to
We were talking about
to connect with people and to like you say, be good hosts and especially when people are going through the line signing the pictures, like I do take each one pretty seriously. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
You don't want to be. You know that they paid money, they waited a long line. You want to make it worth their while. So, it's like just working really hard to be really outgoing and connect and be open and available for 3 days.
And it's not like we're three famous guys, and it's not like the other guest casts are famous. We all work, but we walk the streets unencumbered by fans. We just kind of exist in the world, and we also are people who appreciate other people's work. I'm sure we've all had moments where we see an actor or a musician, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
we get it.
That guy. I'm a huge fan of that guy." So to be on the business end of that bayonet, you have to appreciate what that means for somebody else who's standing across from you, having that experience with you. As ludicrous as we may sometimes feel, like it seems bizarre that people are that excited to meet you. Not you, but obviously you're a national treasure. But for the rest of us, but you have to appreciate that and go, wow, this is. You took time. They took time out of their lives and money out of their pocket to be in this moment we're having right now. And it's an honor to be on this side of it. So I'm going to enjoy it, and that's
Yeah.
going to mean you're going to enjoy it, and everybody's going to have a good time.
Yeah.
We were talking about pilot season. Eric Kripke, of course, has a pilot,
Mhm.
Revolution. Are you guys hoping he'll be like Joss Whedon, really loyal to his actors, get you guys in there?
No, I'd rather him not use any of us. I feel strongly about that.
I actually auditioned for it. I went in for him for this. He wrote a role that's very Chuck-like in it, and they and I worked with JJ on like Felicity and Alias, so like I know both of them. It was kind of nerve-wracking because it's sort of like it was the perfect storm of people that I've worked with that have been loyal to me. And Jon Favreau is directing it, who had written a movie I did. And it was like it was one of those things where it was like a great time, laughing, talking shop, talking about stuff we'd done and everything. And then it was like, okay, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up going a completely different way with the role, and it wasn't right for me in the end. But yeah, so I did go in for
What
that.
part did you audition?
He's the character, I'm not gonna remember his name, but he's like a teacher that he's a teacher, and he's the guy that when they go sort of out into sort of on this mission, and he's the one that's the unlikely one to come. They're like, you're afraid of everything. Why are you? You're scared of bees. He's like, I'm not scared of bees. I'm allergic to bees. There's a difference. Very Chuck-like in that way. But then they ended up changing the role completely. But yeah, what was crazy about it though is that it's just everything JJ does is like very coveted and secret, and so they wouldn't release the script. So if you wanted to read the script, you had to go and sign a non-disclosure agreement and read it in the like chained to a table in the office. So I literally read the script, like got there early from my audition. It was like speed reading the script, but yeah, it's gonna be good though. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun if it doesn't.
Yeah, get picked up. It will. I mean, those guys, and Kripke wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
So, Richard, you've garnered quite the reputation through doing this for being a phenomenal storyteller. Is that something you've cultivated, or is that a natural ability you have?
I didn't know I cultivated that reputation, so that's it.
You have.
That comes naturally to you, right?
Well, let me tell you a story.
Funny story.
You're gonna like this. I don't know. It just, I honestly think that this comes from guys growing up and sitting around with your buddies and telling stories and making each other laugh. I don't. It's nothing if I cultivated it, I came by it honestly through just life and in telling stories with buddies and making, and entertaining each other. So retelling those stories to a crowd with a microphone and I don't really treat it any differently. I'm glad I'm always glad when it translates well into something that's entertaining for people.
Because the Amsterdam train story, when you tell it, it's vastly different from anybody else telling it, even though it's the same facts.
Yeah, I know you've got
you've got the movements down. You've got everybody's part
You were
down.
going to say Jared. You were going to say it's different than with Jared. You're going to go on the record as saying
He's not
I tell it
he's
better
not the
than
only
Jared.
person I've heard tell it, so I'm not going to say that. But
Well, you're right. I do tell it better than
but
Jared.
you do tell it better.
You know why I tell it better than Jared? There's actually very specific development reasons why. Because when you're 6'7" and super good looking, you don't have to tell a good damn story. When you're 5'8" and you look like me, you better nail it. That's how you're going to win the audience. It's a very different thing.
Do we have time for one more question?
Well, what was the story?
Oh, it's too long to tell.
This is, you guys have probably been asked this before, but your characters sort of turned out to be very different people than they were when we met them.
Mm-hmm.
Did that surprise you as much as it surprised the audience, or by the time you got there, did you think nothing can surprise me?
No, I'll do one word answer. Yeah, I was very surprised. I was.
Yeah, I was incredibly surprised. I told the story before where I got the script, my last script, which revealed at the end this thing that I missed it at first. I went up to start shooting it, and one of the crew guys is like, "So how's it feel, your God?" And I was like, what? I'm sorry, I didn't, really? Is that what, And then I actually ended up talking to Kripke and got his take on it, but yeah, I totally missed that part of it, so yes, it was a shocker for me.
I was blown away. Obviously, you come in and you play this, first of all, they're looking for somebody who resembles Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and you go in and see the casting director, and his first words out of his mouth are like, "Jesus, you guys have like the exact same structure, you're just like him." And I'm like, "Whoa, like that's awesome." I think he's a studly actor, he's great, and all this. You act, you get the role, and you play this very innocent, simplistic kind of character that's so, you know, he's naive to all these things, and then, you know, the next season later you do your one episode and you're just like, oh, awesome, and then all of a sudden the phone rings and you get a phone call and they're like, yeah, we sent you a script, take a look at it and let us know if you can do it. And you know, I'm reading this script and, you know, similar to what you said, I'm like, the Archangel Michael. I was like, wait, like God's right-hand man? Like, is this for real right now? Like, I'm playing just the most simple, like, kind of like military version of a human being, and now I'm playing like one step under God. And when I read the material, there was like the triumphant kind of scene where I come in and just, you know, do my damage and send whoever wherever, and there's like an 8-page scene of just me talking where just, you know, Jensen's just got a few lines in between each one of my like spiels, and I was just like, wow. Like, Kripke wrote the first movie I ever did. He wrote the characters for Boogeyman 2, and it was the first movie role I was ever cast in where I got to play split personality disorder, so I was kind of revisiting through Kripke that same, you know, same thing. I was stoked, to say the least. I thought it was incredible, and again, you know, the duality of the characters on the guest stars it's supernatural. It's a lucky thing to be part of.
Do you guys have the urge to smite any of what you were down here?
No.
No.
No smoting?
No, I don't know if I know how to smite.
No smoting?
No smoting.
No.
Oh, wait, Sebastian said something
Last one.
about his character, that when he was killed, they didn't do the burnt wings. I can't remember if they showed that for...
Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, they showed them.
They showed it? Oh, dear.
I'm good.
I'm trying to find a way.
They'll find a way to bring you all back.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm not dead, all right? I mean, the future me is dead, but the past me is still there doing his thing. And, you know, Michael can take my body at any time. So if any of you guys want to pass this message along, the CW and Sarah Gann will go for it, so.
Or a guy's named Michael.
Yes.
Hey guys, thank you so much.